Welcome back to In Doug's Garden by Davey Tree, and today we've got a lot to show you. We're going to plant an amazing garden in Duquesne, Pennsylvania. We're going to see some fun that we had at a plant swap. And do you notice anything missing from this container, like 3 more of these? While I was in Croatia for 12 days, the deer crashed into the garden and really got into a lot of everything. We have been able to salvage some tomato plants and some other things, but it's been a disaster. I put up some deer netting and that has seemed to do the job for now, but I'm not going to risk this plant right here. I'm taking this in, and I want to show you one more thing. Last year I grew this marigold I really love. It's called Superhero Spry. It is a hybrid, and so the seeds are not supposed to be the same thing, but it looks almost the same to me, and it's really a pretty one. I'm going to split them up. I'm going to move them over on this side, and I love marigolds. So let's do a couple things here in the garden, and then we'll go visiting. Just a reminder, if you're growing garlic, you have to remove the scapes. This is the seed head, and what this does, it's so the plant doesn't put all its energy into making seeds. It puts all its energy into making big bulbs. And it seems a little early for me to get scapes, but again, they got to come off. I got some more garlic over there. We'll do it there too. And I'm looking forward to harvesting this garlic, that's for sure. I've been growing more in containers just because I want more room out here for some other things. You should grow this, really. Well, another week when we have 2 things that you should grow, and this has become a favorite rose in the garden. It is called Funny Face from Bailey Nurseries. And man, I'm telling you what, when I get these plants sent to me, and this was years ago, this one was sent to me, I just stick them in the ground because I'm going crazy, and I say, oh, I'll move it later, but I never do. So it's not getting the sun that it really should have, and it blooms almost all summer, certainly off and on. And look at these blooms. You got a slight fragrance, but boy, I just love this plant, and I have a perfect place for it right when we walk into the vegetable garden. And look at all those blooms. Well, here we have a perennial that grows to the size of a shrub, and I love it. It is Aurelia Sun King, and you saw the problem inside a fenced-in area for the deer. This is unfenced and has never been touched by the deer in my garden. That doesn't mean it won't be touched by the deer in your garden, but shade loving. It does put on insignificant flowers, but just this chartreuse foliage and needs nothing from the gardener. That's why you should grow this.
So Doug, at the Pittsburgh Home Show and on your radio show, you talked about zinnias, how to start them and what not to do. And I believe I misheard you, but I thought I heard you say don't start them indoors as seeds.
Ralph is actually a longtime garden friend and travels with me to different places. We actually filmed that on top of a boat in Croatia, and we were talking about the subject. But I don't have any scientific evidence, but I like to do my zinnias from seed. They just seem to be healthier, much less powdery mildew. That doesn't mean you can't start from seed indoors or you can't buy a flat at a nursery. It's just, in my experience, I have better luck with zinnias that way. I hope that answers your question, Ralph. Well, we're headed to Duquesne, PA to see an amazing garden, and we're going to actually help plant it. We're going to meet a great team, plus a very, very wonderful young lady. Welcome to the Orchard Park Garden in Duquesne. This is one of the projects that I work with Farm to Table, Buy Fresh, Buy Local. One of our team members, Tommy, was out here yesterday and cleaning up all these beds, weeding them. My daughter Stephanie is going to help us out too. We're going to do some planting with the residents. But before we do that, I'm going to get my string trimmer and kind of work on these paths, get them cleaned up a little bit so we can get our planting done. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 flats of plants to go in. We're going to have fun today.
Today we are going to be gardening.
And what do you know about gardening?
I can't remember.
Are you ready to plant?
Yes.
Let's go.
You're helping the earth grow.
They don't have enough room on their personal property to put in a garden, So we did a community garden. This way there's 6 beds in here and everybody could take turns, come in, harvest the vegetables once they're ready for season. And the kids enjoy, they learn about planting and gardening, so it's a nice activity, gets them outside in the sun instead of being cooped up in the house all the time.
So if you throw things away, then it makes a whole big mess, even if you throw it away in the grass. So usually people carry bags and carry stuff to help clean around the thing so we can reuse, reduce, and recycle our trash.
You want to do the other one?
What I learned today about gardening is that planting actually helps the world. Even it helps you whenever you eat food. We've been planting all of these different kinds of foods, even the beans. And nature just feels so welcoming.
What are you going to eat out of here?
What I'm gonna eat out of here is the beans, the cucumbers, the tomatoes,
Basil?
also the basil. Bye.
Well, I don't think I could have said it much better than the way Juliana put it, and we'll be checking in on that garden throughout the season. Now, we had a great time there, but now you got to check out some fun I had at my 22nd annual Doug Oster Plant Swap and Giveaway Garden Hullabaloo. Welcome to the 22nd annual Doug Oster Plant Swap and Garden Hullabaloo. We've actually been doing this for 25 years. The first 3 I did at my house, but now every year we come to Sorgel's and hoping for a great crowd on a kind of a cool rainy day, but it's an hour before we're officially supposed to start and already people are bringing their plants. So strap in, get ready. This is going to be fun because the whole thing's over in like 20 minutes. Hey, how are you?
Pretty good, sir. And you?
Nice socks.
Thank you. Like to brighten up somebody's day.
Yeah. Well, Randy, thanks right off the bat for hosting us. For 22 years, you've been growing out Limbaugh Legacy potato top tomatoes for me. Why?
Because it's a great thing to be doing. 'cause especially keep this tomato going because it's such a good tomato. So
What do you get out of hosting this? Do you get anything out of this?
yeah, I do. First of all, people are on the property, so they get to see my place too. But the big thing is to see these people who have the passion for gardening, and what, Doug, you do to have them be this passion is amazing. And I think that's really the cool part, is to see what you instill and that these people all do to go ahead and come here to do this plant swap.
And you've even donated some really cool peppers too.
Yeah, Braden, who works for me, is the pepper guy. And so we had some of those that we could bring down here that are really going to be kind of interesting.
Okay, 15 minutes, and then before we get started, I'm going to be giving away some of this fertilizer from Dram called Dramatic, some tools, some deer repellent. So we'll do that right before we get started. Anybody that takes anything before 1 o'clock has to eat a hot pepper. How long you been coming to this plant swap?
A lot more years than I'd like to remember. Back when it was in North Park.
And why do you come?
I think it's fun, and I always get a potato top to put in my garden.
All right. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Limbaugh Legacy potato top. What is it about that tomato that you love?
The size is perfect, tastes really good, and there's nothing like cutting one slice and filling a sandwich. And it's got to be white bread.
And mayonnaise?
And mayonnaise.
All right. What is your favorite part of the plant swap?
I just enjoy seeing all the people, and a lot of people come back, and you see some amazing, you always pick up something, amazing plants.
We're going to do it by birthday, but you don't have to say what year. So this is Dramatic fertilizer. It's an organic fish-based fertilizer that when you apply it, it smells like low tide. All right, so whoever's closest to January 22nd, raise your hand. Where are we at? 23rd. Anyone closer than the 23rd? January 23rd, here you go. March 15. Oh, were you closer? It's a concentrate, you mix it up. And how long have you been my #1 volunteer?
20 plus years, if not more.
Why? Why do you come to volunteer every year?
Well, just to see what everybody's bringing, get a few for myself and help others. Pick out what they want.
And fight them off.
That's for sure.
And are you growing the potato top?
I did the last couple years, but recently the deer are just killing my stock, so I just did the hell with it.
When you were growing that tomato, what did you like about it?
How big they were, sweet, juicy, big. I sent you a couple of pictures, I remember, and you couldn't believe how big they were.
Yeah, huge. What's the best part of the event for you?
Just seeing the variety of everything here. I mean, you've got people bringing trees, which really shouldn't be. It's about oak trees, seedlings, so.
Don't forget, there are free potato top tomatoes over there. One per customer until it looks like we're gonna have enough to do more after everybody gets one. Please take all these plants out of here because they're just going in the dumpster if we don't get them. All right, begin. So it was in the year 2000, your dad called me and told me about this tomato, and I found it to be an incredible tomato, and that's how this whole thing started. Tell me what it means for you to have this tomato perpetuated in the Pittsburgh area and all across the country.
Well, I think that's why my sister got in touch with you and asked whether we could change the name from potato top, which describes the leaves of the plant. It looks like the leaves of a potato plant, to Limbaugh Legacy. To have that legacy live on means a lot to the family.
Tell me a little bit about your dad and his love for this tomato and how he kept it going.
Well, it was probably his great-grandfather who started these tomatoes, and they've been passed down through the family. And the irony of it is, Doug, that my dad never ate a tomato in his life.
That is funny.
So, but I remember my grandfather raising them, and then my dad took them over, and as you know, walking down over the hill to the hotbeds, he would plant them in the house first as seeds. From seeds, then he'd transfer them outside to a hotbed. He had cold frames, and he'd have window frames on top of them, and when it got too cold, he'd go down, put a light bulb under there to keep them from freezing. And well, these are beautiful plants, but compared to the ones that he grew.
First time I ever came, and he showed me those tomatoes, give me 2 of those tomatoes wrapped in newspaper, and the stems were as thick as my thumb and dark green. They were amazing.
He worked for the Port Authority, and he used to take them to fellow workers and wrap them up in newspaper and take them into work with him.
What do you think it is about the tomato that everyone just loves?
Oh, it's big, it's meaty, it's very low acidic. It's just a great tasting tomato.
For more information about everything we talked about today, go to DougOster.com. And my sold-out trip to the national parks this August had a cancellation. I've got 4 seats open. Check that out. Now, do me a favor. Subscribe, like, and comment. It helps out the channel. And until next week, keep planting, and we'll see you then.